guys, what is up? You will notice today's video is taking place in my van. This is the van that I've spent thousands of hours in meditation in, and I've practiced going through the micro sleep process every day, during my lunch hour at work. And the primary reason I'm in here is because it is free from distractions, and it's winter and it's cold. So I actually got this idea from a friend of mine, Jamie. Thank you for that. On her channel, she recently recorded a video in her car, and I thought, what a great idea, because that way I could talk about an experience while it's fresh in my mind rather than putting it off a week until I've got an environment that's free of distractions and that's quiet. So I wanted to tell you about my latest projection, which actually occurred a couple of nights ago, this past weekend. It was from Friday night to Saturday morning, and I will tell you that this particular experience took an awful lot of persistence and perseverance. I woke up about midnight, just spontaneously, and I thought, I've got the opportunity to sleep in tomorrow morning, so why not give it a try? So I go through my normal process, same process I've talked about in other videos, where I use the wake back to bed method. I get up, wake myself up, write down my dreams, splash some water on my face, get a drink of water, and go back to bed. And I've been using these guided meditations during night. And I've been doing this just since middle of December. And it's been working really well, where I listen to these guided meditations, and while I'm listening to them, I just intentionally go into this micro sleep where I just go in and out of sleep over and over again, 15 or 20 times. And that kind of triggers this natural process where it just continues on it continues on its own. Once these guided meditations are over, my body will just fall asleep, the vibrations kick in, and I can roll out of body. And it's been working really well for me, so I've just stuck with it. So I lay back down, I put on the Wave 1 CD by the Monroe Institute, and I'm listening to Bob Monroe's guided meditations, which I absolutely love. I just love Bob Monroe. I wish I would have met him. I wish he was my grandpa. Anyhow, I get about half an hour into this guided meditation, and I just get this insane, nagging, annoying, itching, tickling sensation right here, right under my right nostril. It's just buzzing, and it's distracting me from any forward motion or forward progress. And I'm fairly confident that this is an attempt of my body to say, are you awake, or is it safe for me to shut down now? And if you've ever gotten to the point where your body is almost asleep, I'm sure you've experienced these itching sensations, this spider web across your face sensation, these tickles around your mouth and nose. And this is your body it's basically saying, is it safe for me to shut off or not? And so if you reach up and you scratch the itch, your body says, nope, you're still awake, I'll stay awake too. If you can ignore it, typically things will just shut down and you can continue on with the process. Well, I tried to ignore this, and I tried to just relax, and I tried to just focus on something else, but this thing, it just would not go away. And so finally, I decide maybe this is a real itch. Maybe this isn't my body just trying to see if I'm awake. So I decided to just scrap it. I reach up to scratch the itch, and sure enough, it was one of the fake itches. Now, if your experiences are similar to mine, these fake itches, they go away before you even touch your face. So I move my arm, I get it to about here, and the itch is gone. So confirmation right there that this was my body trying to determine whether or not I was awake. So I roll over, I go to sleep, just decide I'll try again another night. Well, 2:30 in the morning rolls around, and I wake up again spontaneously and decide, why not give it another try? So I go through the same process, wake back to bed, start this guided meditation. Half an hour into it, again, this nagging, annoying, itching, buzzing, tickling sensation, same spot. And so based on my first experience, I am 100% positive that this is not a real itch. Well, I try to hang in there longer this time. I try to ignore it, knowing what it is, and it just won't go away, and I can't make any more progress. And so I decide maybe it's just not meant to happen tonight. I'm just going to go back to sleep. So I reach up again before I get my hand to my face. That itch just goes away. I roll over, go back to sleep. Well, 3:30 a.m. rolls around, and I wake up again, and I decide, I've already tried twice. Why not give it one more shot? So exact same process. This time, the itches don't come. And I finished the guided meditation. I managed to dip in and out of sleep probably 15 or 20 times. And this process just kicks off on its own the moment that I roll over on my side to go to sleep. And it starts with the familiar sensation, the low frequency pounding zump, zump, zump sound. And it turns into the vibrations, and I roll out of body, and I'm out. So, well worth the perseverance and persistence. My goal for this particular out of body experience was to go to my work. I've never been to my workplace while in the out of body state, and I was curious whether or not the physical characteristics of the building would be the same while out of body as they are while in the body. I also will say that I've only worked at this particular location for about 7.5 months, and there's still rooms in this building that I've never been in. And I thought this would be a great opportunity to go and explore those rooms, and then in physical life, I can go into those rooms while at work, and I can see if the environment matches what it looked like, while I was in this out of body state, and use this as some sort of confirmation that this is more than just a hallucination or a dream or something like that. So that's my goal, and I also take this opportunity to fly, because any opportunity to fly is a good one. I take off and I start flying towards the east, and I'm flying over houses, and pretty quickly I notice that as I'm heading east, a lot of the housing complexes that are there today are missing, and it's just giant fields full of long grass, just like it was a couple of decades ago. Well, I get to the point where my work is, and the building is missing, which, based on the fact that these housing complexes are missing, it makes sense. This building was only made in 2011. And the only thing around is a high school. And this high school was built, probably 30 years ago. And so I figure I must be at some point in time between 20 and 30 years in the past. So sort of an unintentional, what I'm thinking is time travel. I decide, as long as I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and explore the high school. And so I start heading towards the high school, and somebody starts walking towards me. And he gets up to me, and it's a guy. He looks like he's in his mid-20s. He's got brown hair. It's kind of parted on the side, pretty slender, a little taller than I am, and he just looks ecstatic, just thrilled to see me. He's just smiling ear to ear, and he says, he says, "How did you do this? How did you get out of body? I didn't think anybody else knew how to do this." And we start talking, and we're communicating in this non-verbal, telepathic type of communication. That you'll be familiar with if you've ever gone into these states where you're talking to somebody in this out of body state. You'll find that verbal communication with vocal cords and words just it's difficult, nearing impossible in some instances, and it's just much easier and efficient to project thoughts and images into other people's minds and to communicate in that manner. And so he's basically surprised that I'm there because he's never met anybody else who can do this. And so I ask him who he is. I think this is a great opportunity to try to, again, use some sort of verification type experiment to determine that this is anything other than a hallucination. So I ask him what his name is, and he says his name is Garrett Lee, and that he lives in this area. And then, thinking about all the houses that are missing, I ask him what year it is, and he tells me it's 1993, which actually matches pretty well with what I'm seeing in the environment. But again, not definitive confirmation, because I lived here in 1993 and I know what it looked like back then. So it's not like I'm seeing something and able to confirm that, it looks some way that I never actually witnessed it looking, if that makes sense. Anyway, so we decide that we're going to explore this high school together. And so we fly through the walls, and we're flying through the ceilings and the floors, and we're going in the classrooms and the auditorium. And I will say that this was one of my longest out-of-body experiences. And I think, thinking back on it, I think it's because anytime I start to spend an extended amount of time in this out-of-body state, there always comes a point where I think to myself, wow, this is really lasting a long time. Or I wonder how long this is going to last. Or I think about my physical body, or I think about waking life. And at that point, the experience tends to destabilize and just tends to start falling apart, and I very quickly am thrust back. Well, having somebody with me to keep me focused on this experience, I didn't give a second thought to my physical body. I didn't wonder how long it was going to last. We were, just having a good time and flying through the school together and just experiencing this together. And it kept my mind focused on this projection experience. So I am pretty confident that that is what helped lead to this extra long experience. Eventually, we flew out of the school. We went through the back walls, and we were facing east over this huge field, and we were watching the sunrise, which was amazing and incredibly beautiful. And it is stunning to to experience something like that and see how real this looks, while in these states. So as we're watching the sunrise, he tells me that his experience is almost over and he's going to go back now, but he does say, "I will see you tomorrow," as he's flying off. And I don't know what that means because it's 1993. Is he going to see me tomorrow in 1993? Is he going to see me tomorrow being Sunday in my date and time? I never found that out. So I'm not sure, but now I've met somebody who also claims to be out of body, a guy named Garrett Lee. So we'll see if I ever see him again. I tried this last night, Saturday night to Sunday, and I got close. I got to the point where the pulsating, zumping noises were leading up to the vibrations, and I got too excited, and my heart started pounding. And you'll also know if you've gotten to this state that any sort of strong emotions, excitement, fear, anything like that will very quickly shut down these sensations and ruin the experience. And just the prospect of getting out multiple nights in a row and potentially going back and meeting this guy again and having another amazing experience, it was enough to make me excited to the point where I just couldn't control my heartbeat, and my emotion ruined the experience, and I never made it out last night, unfortunately. But I will watch for him in the future and maybe get some more information. So, anyways, that's it. My first meeting of another claimed or proclaimed astral projector while in the out of body state. A sort of example of time travel, albeit a unintentional time travel. Now, I will say that I've had other instances similar to this where I've traveled back in time, and it always seems to be back to about this point in time when I was about 13 years old, about 1993, 1994. I don't know why that is, but that seems to be the only date and time that I tend to go back to. So, anyways, that was it for this time. That's my experience. Love to hear your thoughts on it. As always, like, comment, subscribe, help me build this community, and I will talk to you guys again soon.